What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode of Life Advice with Hunter. This is the show where I sit down, read questions from viewers just like you, and give you advice on whatever is going on in your life. And if you want to submit your own questions for these videos, you can do so by going down into the description, finding the Google form link, or finding our Discord link, which is also in the description. We talk, chat, all that great stuff in the description. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we're just playing some Minecraft today because we got a long one. So let's go ahead and read that. I gave myself 3 years to move on from my first breakup. I gave her everything I had. Now that I'm 20, I've gone through another devastating heartbreak, and I just don't have anything left, bro. I gave the first girl everything I had and gave the second everything I had left. I messaged both of them, and neither of them want to talk to me anymore. I've been drafting notes in my head for when I decide to just give up. The second girl cheated on me. I forgave her, but never recovered. She left me a month afterwards because I was too depressed to give her what she needed. The first girl left me because my BPD-diagnosed crazy-ass sister would stalk her and manipulate me to create a divide in my relationship with this girl. I feel so lost and empty. The second girl has been with me through so much, and I feel like I've drugged myself into a hole I want to get out of, but I guess I'm just asking for advice. I've never done anything like this before, but I'm desperate at this point. I don't really have anyone else to talk to about this because they either brush it off or have taken advantage of me in the past. There is a lot to unpack here, and I think that the first thing I want to tell you is that I really recommend you talk to a professional no matter what I tell you in this video. I recommend starting therapy because you clearly have gone through a lot of shit in your life. And I want to, first of all, apologize for that. And, I understand that life gets hard. And I've made a video talking about self-harm and all that stuff, but it is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And that is something that I believed for years, and that is something that I actively tell people. And, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I've had thoughts of my own about taking my life. And unfortunately, I will be transparent. Some of those were more recent than I would like, right? And, that it's an unfortunate reality that you can feel sad sometimes. And I want to tell you that I'm here for you, and I'm sorry that you're going through that. I want to say that first just because, self-harm is very serious. And if you are thinking about taking your life, I'd recommend reaching out to professionals, not just myself, but to actual professionals. 988 is one call away, which is the National Suicide Prevention Line. And also the Veteran Line is its own thing. And then also LGBTQ plus line is its own thing. But I want to tell you something, man. I think that a lot of people have this idea that because so many people will be quick to move on from a relationship, it means that they need to. When I was 16 and I went through my first breakup that I've talked about before on this channel, it took me a long time to get over that. And I don't just mean until I started dating, until I actually felt good again. And that first cut hurts, right? People talk about how the first cut is always the deepest, and I believe in that wholeheartedly. That first girl, man, really fucked me up, and she sounds like the second girl that you just got out of a relationship with, right? This was the type of girl that would cheat on me, right? This was the girl that sent me some fucking pictures of her cheating. You know what I mean? Like, she was a fucking crazy bitch, right? And it sucked, and it was a really hard time in my life. And the truth of the matter is that you are going to think about this girl for a long time, the first girl, because it is such a hard time in your life to deal with, like breakups and shit like that. And at 20, you're going to change a lot over the next year. I'll be honest. Even when I was 20, man, from 20 to 21 was a crazy time. And from 21 to 22 has been a crazy time. I'm almost 22. I'm not quite 22. But the big thing that I want to tell you is that you shouldn't put a number on when you should feel good, right? I think that some people expect that in 6 months, I'm going to be ready to date again. That might not always be the case. And unfortunately for you, you got hurt in the process, but you're going to learn from this. And I'm going to tell you this, man, don't get into a relationship for a while. I don't think that you need to be in one right now because you got some shit you need to sort out yourself. And that's okay. Just because you're not ready for a relationship doesn't mean that you're not a good guy or that you're some piece of shit. What it actually means is you just need to spend some time figuring out what you want, who you need to be, right? Now, there's a rule of thumb that I typically follow when it comes to relationships. It's called the rule of 3. Basically, how the rule of three works is basically you're going to have about 3 long-term girlfriends, and the third one is going to be the one, right? The first one, which you've already had, is basically the one where you're going to figure out about dating, right? You know, because anybody can tell you about dating, but it's going to take some time with you actually being in a relationship to figure out what you want your relationship to be and who you are. And then your second relationship, which you just had, which unfortunately ended terribly, is where you're going to learn about what you want a relationship to look like. Not finding yourself at this point, but figuring out exactly what do I want in a partner? What do I value? Who am I looking for? Now, once you do that, you're going to find the third, the golden one. She isn't going to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. But she's going to be a girl that drives you wild. She's going to be a girl that makes you happy. She's going to be a girl that makes you smile every single day, right? And it's going to be that third one is the rule that I follow, right? And I think that that is completely fair, and you've gotten the 2 out of the way. Now, I tell you that because I want to give you some good news, because obviously you've been through a shit ton in your life, I can tell. And a big piece of advice of that is I think that you need to get the fuck away from your sister. If you still are, and if she's still in your life, bro, you need to cut her out immediately. And I've talked about this, but just because you're blood doesn't make you family. And I do mean that, all right? Just because someone is blood related or just because somebody is born into the same family does not make them family. And I think that a lot of people are waking up to that reality, but I just want to make you feel comfortable in saying, hey, look, I may not need to talk to my sister anymore. You know, that may need to be what I need to do in my life. And, it's going to suck. And, your parents might fucking hate you for it or whatever the fuck. But the truth of the matter is that we're not worried about your parents right now. We're not worried about what your family thinks. We're not worried about what your sister thinks. We're not worried about what anybody thinks. What we are doing right now is that we are purely working on yourself. You're not going to be working for other people. You're not going to be thinking about other people. Your main goal right now is to do a complete reset on your life. That's what you need, right? When you go through something traumatic like this, when you go through some really shitty relationships, I think the best thing that you can do is go through a little reset. And I'm going to talk about how to do a reset and stuff, but I want to make that clear. You need to get your sister out of your fucking life if you want to have a successful relationship. Because the truth of the matter is that if she's already fucking with the first girl, and the first girl isn't able to see through your sister's bullshit, other girls aren't gonna, you know what I mean? And your girlfriend has some BPD, and let me tell you, man, I'm assuming you mean fucking bipolar, I would assume, not personality. That shit sucks, man. I could say that. The last girl that I just broke up with, that I was with for almost 3 years, she had BPD, right? And it is a tough thing to do. And obviously a relationship is a little different than a sister, but I feel like the same things kind of apply, right? They are people that are going to, they're people that are very emotionally driven and all this, right? So it does make life hard, and it does make it hard to live with that person. It does make that hard. And if this person is going to take advantage of you and be rude and ruin your relationship, what you need to do is just get her out of your life. Who cares what the fuck your parents think? You're an adult. You are 20. If your parents are going to choose, your fucking sister over you, then fuck them too, all right? They're pieces of shit too if they're just going to, fucking abandon their son because they realize, oh, whoa, our daughter's kind of a piece of shit and she's not getting treatment. Yeah, no, maybe we should just fucking, So that's the big first piece of advice that I want to tell you. And I'm going to give you a little thing that I want you to do over the next couple weeks. The next big thing that you need to do is just reorganize your room / clean your room. This is just a way to get a nice, clean, fresh perspective. I'm not telling you to do some ridiculous deep clean. What I'm saying is pick up the trash, pick up the clothes, change your sheets, fold your laundry, put your blanket on your bed. Make your bed a little bit. Doesn't need to be anything crazy. And I just want you to think about your life while you do that. And think about the things that you want to change about your life while you do this, right? And I do mean that. Literally think about, what do I want my life to look like in 5 years? And you don't need to have an answer, but you just need to get your brain thinking. So while you're cleaning and just reorganizing, reorganize your room, get a fresh perspective, go through it, and then figure out, what do I want my life to be like? Once you figure that out, you're golden, right? You're on track. And I'm not expecting you to have a perfect ideological view on what your life is going to be like in 6 years. Fuck that, all right? Just basic shit, right? Do you want to be where you're at right now? Do you want to have the same friend group? Do you want to be in a relationship? What do you want? And then once you do that, you're then going to sit down and you're going to write a letter to both of the girls that you have broken up with. You're not going to give them this letter. You're not going to text it to them. Just literally write down your feelings, how you feel about both of those girls. I don't care if it's positive. I don't care if it's negative. I don't care if it's angry or sad. I do not give a fuck. Literally, if you could tell them anything while you're in the room with them, I want you to write that down. And what I mean by that is literally if you were sitting in a room with that girl, right? Let's pretend the first girl sitting in front of you. What would you tell her right now if she couldn't respond? And I don't mean like an argument. Like literally, she's not going to respond. She's just going to listen. What would you tell her? What would you tell her? And I want you to write all that shit down. And you're going to write it down for both girls, all right? And I'm assuming the second one's going to be more angry filled. You're going to write both of those down. And you're going to keep them for now. And you're just going to start trying to improve yourself, you know? If you're overweight, start going to the gym a little bit. If you don't have a job, start applying to jobs. If, you know, your life's a mess, start, you know, making your life clean. Start cleaning up after yourself. Start doing your laundry more, you know? Whatever you need to do to make yourself feel more comfortable. Whatever aspect of your life you think needs improving. If you spend too much time playing video games like I do, go ahead and take a break. You know what I mean? If you want to be more involved in your community, start doing that kind of shit. I do think that a good therapy or a good way to help yourself is actually, and I do stand by this, is volunteering. You know what I mean? Like, it is nice to volunteer sometimes. It really is, you know, a good experience to be able to, you know, just like relax and just help people, right? Because it's very easily to fall into the trap of when I'm struggling, I'm going to hurt other people. When you are having a bad day, it's easy to make other people's days feel bad or to make it feel like I don't care about them and all this stuff. But you need to care, right? And it makes us all feel human. And I'm not saying you need to do something crazy like donate $5,000 to the food bank. No, literally just show up to the food bank and help package meals. I've done it from time to time, and I still do it sometimes. It's a nice way to relax. It's a nice way to connect with positive people in your community because everybody there is typically in a good mood. They're in a cheery spirit and all that good stuff. We're in a great time to do it. Christmas is a time where there's plenty of opportunities to go around your community and help, whether if it's like, you know, like Angel Tree or just, you know, helping out at a food bank. It doesn't matter, but you need to do something to keep your mind active. You need to do something to keep your mind in a positive state. And the reason why I say this is because it's very easy to fall into the trap to say, fuck it, I'm just going to go ahead, sit in my room, play video games all day, and watch porn. It's easy to do that. It really is. But I think that the best way to deal with a breakup is to stay active, you know, to keep your mind off of it. And for you, you're not just dealing with a breakup here. You're dealing with some real motherfucking trauma, you know? So I would really recommend, you know, take some time and figure out what do I want to do to help the people around me. And it could be your family. If you have elderly grandparents, help them out. If your parents are a little older, help them out. It doesn't matter who you're helping. You just need to help in some way. And I do mean this too. So you need to keep your mind fit. You need to keep your body fit. Right? This is something that's going to help with your confidence and help with who you are as a person, right? If you are able to bench press a little bit, you know what I mean? You're going to feel better about yourself. A lot of people forget the fact that your mental health is just as important as your physical health and vice versa. A lot of people will talk about how, oh, why do I feel like shit? Well, it's probably because you haven't left the house in 4 days and you haven't gone to the gym in years and you eat nothing but dog shit. You know what I mean? And that's what I would really recommend. And the reason why you need to do this is because you need a life reset. It's time for you to become the person that you want to be. It's time to become the person that you want to see in the mirror, right? This doesn't really apply to you because that's not what we're dealing with. But one of the things that I tell myself when I'm feeling down or I feel non-motivated to do something is to say, okay, am I the person that I want my son to be? And if the answer is no, then fucking change it. You know, and it doesn't necessarily apply to you because you are doing a full reset of your life because you fucking need it, brother. And I'm sorry for everything that you're going through. I'm sorry for the shitty women in your life. I'm sorry for your shitty sister. I really do mean it, man. And I'm really sorry that all this happened. You know, I read this a couple days ago, and there was a lot here to unpack. You know, there really is. But, you know, so if you want to submit your own questions for videos just like this, you can do so by going down into the description, finding the Google form link, or you can find the Discord server, ask it in there, all that great stuff. stuff. We chat, chill, all that great stuff. And I quickly also want to reiterate, if you are feeling symptoms of self-harm or suicide, please reach out to 988. It's a free service. They're trained professionals, because, you know, everybody needs someone to talk to. And I understand that therapy is expensive and sometimes you don't feel like talking to people. And I think that making that first step of just reaching out to 988 when you do feel like taking your own life is an important step. You know, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you're doing in your life. It doesn't matter if you're a parent. It doesn't matter if you're an only child. It doesn't matter if you're a drug addict, right? You deserve help with your mental health. And, you know, I would also recommend reaching out to BetterHelp. BetterHelp is a online service that I use for therapy. And it's a great way to connect with therapists from your own home at your own pace. And it's great. You know, this isn't sponsored in any way, but I just want to shout them out because they've helped me out a ton. And I really recommend their services. I really do. They take insurance and all that great stuff. So really check them out. If you or someone else you know is struggling, you really do need to reach out. But yeah, guys. I know today's a little longer, so you guys get a little bit of a treat. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.